5 minutes of useless history facts. Wait, what? Alexander the Great was buried alive. Accidentally. In 323 BC, Alexander fell ill, and after 12 days of excruciating pain, he seemingly passed away. However, his corpse didn't show any signs of rot or decomposition for a whole 6 days. Now modern scientists believe that he still could have been alive. Julius Caesar was stabbed 23 times. Due to his coup d'etat of the Roman Republic and his proclamation of himself as dictator for life, along with his radical political views, a group of fellow Roman senators, led by his best friend Brutus, assassinated him on March 15th, 44 BC. In ancient Asia, death by elephant was a popular form of execution. They could be taught to slowly break bones, crush skulls, twist off limbs, or even execute people using large blades fitted to their tusks. In some parts of Asia, this method of execution was still popular up into the late 19th century. In ancient Greece, wearing skirts was considered manly. In fact, the ancient Greeks viewed trousers as effeminate and would mock any men who wore them. The most successful pirate in history was a woman named Qing Shi. She was a prostitute in China. This was until the commander of the Red Flag Fleet bought her and married her. Under Shi's leadership, the Red Flag Fleet consisted of over 300 warships with a possible 1,200 more support ships. She even had a possible 40,000 to 80,000 men, women, and children. In ancient Olympics, athletes performed naked. The athletes did this to imitate the gods, but also to help them easily clear toxins from their skin through sweating after each attempt at a sport. There were female gladiators. Gladiatrices served the same purpose of executing criminals, fighting each other, and fighting animals in Rome's various fighting pits, just like the men. The Luftwaffe had a master interrogator whose tactic was being as nice as possible. Hans Schwarf was a master interrogator who was very much against physical torture and brutality. Schwarf's best tactics for squeezing information out of prisoners included nature walks without guards present, baking them homemade food, cracking jokes, drinking beers, and afternoon tea with German fighter aces. That's pretty cool. You know what else is cool? Subscribing. Don't forget, it's free. When Marcus Crassus died, molten gold was poured down his throat. After an unsuccessful parley for peace with the Parthian leaders, Crassus was killed. The Parthians poured molten gold down his throat as a symbol of his thirst for wealth. Germany uncovers 2,000 tons of unexploded bombs every year. Cleopatra's reign was closer to the moon landings than the Great Pyramids being built. Cleopatra reigned from 51 BC to 30 BC, roughly 2,500 years after the Great Pyramids of Giza was built, and roughly 2,000 years before the first lunar landings in 1969. During World War I, the French built a fake Paris. It was built as a means of throwing off German bombers and fighter pilots flying over the French skies. A singing birthday card has more computer power in it than the entire Allied army of World War II. The Eastern Roman Empire had a weapon called Greek fire, which was used as a ship-mounted flamethrower. This weapon was extremely deadly due to the fact that throwing water onto it would only feed the fire. It was almost gelatinous in texture and would stick to things. It was mostly used in naval warfare, as the large flamethrowers needed for its projectile use could be better accommodated by ships rather than infantry. The Vikings were the first Europeans to discover America. The Vikings under Leif Erikson settled Newfoundland, as well as discovering and settling Labrador, further north in Canada. Captain Morgan was a real guy. Thomas Edison didn't invent most of the stuff he patented. It's fair to say that Edison is one of the world's most notorious intellectual property thieves. Of the 1,093 things he smashed a patent on, he stole most of them off of real geniuses like Nikola Tesla, Wilhelm Röntgen, and Joseph Swan, the latter of whom originally invented the light bulb. Fox tossing was once a popular sport. Popular with Europe's aristocrats during the 17th and 18th centuries, fox tossing would involve a person, or a couple, throwing a fox as high and far as they could. Turkeys were once worshipped as gods. The Mayan people believed turkeys were the vessels of the gods and honored them with worship. Makes sense of why they didn't celebrate Thanksgiving. Lord Byron kept a bear in his college dorm. The famous Romantic period poet was peeved when he found out at Trinity College, Cambridge, didn't allow dogs on campus. So to rebel against the man's draconian rules, he decided to bring a tame bear to campus with him. 100 million years ago, the Sahara Desert was inhabited by galloping crocodiles. In 2009, fossil hunters found the remains of crocodiles. These remains had large land-going legs that were capable of galloping across the land at breakneck speeds. Tug-of-war used to be an Olympic sport. It was part of the Olympic schedule between 1900 and 1920 and occurred at 5 different Summer Olympic Games.